Drake just announced a new album called For All the Dogs, and this one came out of nowhere together with his poetry book, and we're going to talk about it because we actually have some details, even though a lot of people say that we don't have any details on this. We don't even have a release date, but we're going to talk about this, so let's jump straight into this. If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. So to get the full story on this thing, we need to backtrack a little bit to June 17th of last year. That was the day that Honestly Nevermind dropped, and on the same day, Drake went on his Table for One podcast or a radio show, and he announced, among other things, also Scary Hours 3, something that we've talked about quite a lot in the past as well, but also a poetry book together with Kenza Samir, who is, we have only one picture of them together, who is Nebby's, I think, sister. Being Nebby is his longtime girlfriend who The Best I Ever Had was about, so kind of weird relationship, but it is what it is. They did a poetry book together. It's called Titles Ruin Everything, and he said in that Table for One interview that it was still going to be coming out last year. Well, that didn't happen, but he announced it today, or like yesterday, Saturday, he announced it, and it is out for sale now. So you can go to his Drake related website and you can buy this poetry book. I've seen among other retailers, it's already sold out, but it's still available on the Drake related site. So if you want a copy, make sure to get it. Me as a full-time, Drake fan, I copped 10 copies of this thing already, so you better do the same. That was a joke, by the way. Well, he also went around all the major publications of, Canada and the US, and he basically spammed this in every newspaper possible. He has spammed this, for example, in the LA Times, and we've seen, ads for this appear among other things as well, like the New York Post that we've seen it on, and also the Toronto Star, which makes sense for him to do it in the Toronto Star. So he's really wants this thing to go big, and I don't think that those newspaper ads actually have any sort of campaign behind them. It's just like, I'm dropping a poetry book, so I'm going at some sophisticated publications to make this known. I don't think there's actually any value behind these ads. Well, and to my knowledge, it was in some of those ads that he also included a QR code in. And when you click on the QR code, you get to a website called titlesruineverything.com. And this isn't random, it's actually the title of the book that he's now released. It's called Titles Ruin Everything. Kind of a lazy title, but you can also go a little bit deeper with that meaning. So that's that. And when you go to this website, there is an announcement right there in the middle of the screen. Nothing else on the website except this black on white text. And it reads, "I made an album to go with the book. They say they miss the old Drake. Girl, don't tempt me. For All the Dogs." And so here he's confirming that the title for this album will be For All the Dogs, and we'll go into in a second what this title could mean. One more thing that I want to say is this whole thing with Girl Don't Tempt Me. We've heard this before. Obviously, this was in verse 2 of Headlines, where she says they missed the old Drake, girl don't tempt me. And obviously this was 10 years ago in 2012, 2013, or even before 2011. I mean, Take Care dropped 2011, so it's 2011. And I mean, this whole girl, she says she missed the old Drake, girl don't tempt me, has been subject to memes and all of that, because do we really want the old Drake? I mean, now kind of we do, because we've seen what happened on the last Thugger album. Y'all can hate me for that. We've had the discussion in the Discord, in the comments so many times. I gotta say that the first verse he did on the first track, ass, but the second one, and Oh You Went, that was pretty good. Just so y'all don't get at me that hard. And we could already, when we're talking about the book again, the poetry book, we already got some sort of teaser for that in the Apple Music description for Honestly Nevermind, because in that description for the album, he went in some very poetic detail about his life and about what he's doing right now and about how he sees himself in the public and in the dynamic that's been happening around his fame whatsoever. So maybe that's something we can see in the book happening as well. I don't think that the album is necessarily connected to the book. That was kind of a worry that I had immediately from the get-go, because I mean, it could work if Drake drops like a poetry album, but if we've seen what he's done over the past couple of albums, especially like Certified Lover Boy, then Honestly Nevermind, and then Her Loss, there wasn't really poetry direction that he was going there. I mean, we always criticize him for that he's less and less about the witty bars and about the old Drake that came with some clever bars here and there and conveyed them in a way that was confident but also kind of humble as well. The new Drake is kind of like, I mean, Certified Lover Boy is a perfect example of him just not caring, about a lot of the bars. Even though on Certified Lover Boy, there are some great examples of this, like The Remorse or Champagne Poetry. So don't get at me for that. I'm not a Drake hater, even though a lot of people view me in that light nowadays. Drake has been, at one point, my favorite artist for a very long time, so I love the dude. I'm just critical in some aspects, but I still want him to win. I want him to do the best that he can with anything that he does. Now, concerning the album of the title again, I want to say that I read the theory on the internet, so don't trust this, but that it is actually about all the dogs he's actually had in the past. So he's had some various dogs over the past in his life that have accompanied him over the course of his career, and that his kind of a hint at that. But also, when you consider the last couple of, titles he's had, we've had this theory ever since Honestly Nevermind and Her Loss. But when you take a look at it, it's Certified Lover Boy, and then it's Honestly Nevermind. Never mind that Lover Boy. Honestly Nevermind, it's Her Loss. And we already had this theory with the titles back when Her Loss dropped. But look at it. Certified Lover Boy, Honestly Nevermind, it's Her Loss. This one is For All the Dogs. That is a theory that I see happening right now, where he's kind of completing this sentence that he's writing with the titles, or this theme that he's going for. And I like that. I like that there's some sort of concept behind every album. And honestly, over the course of those albums, we've definitely seen him develop that more and more. Certified Lover Boy was definitely more of a Certified Lover Boy. Honestly Nevermind, I don't know what that was, but Her Loss was definitely one that was like, okay, I'm back, I'm going hard in this one. It's, it's Her Loss. I'm back doing my shit. I'm back going hard on these tracks. I can rap. I can deliver some heat. And it's her loss if she didn't like me for being that Certified Lover Boy. So that's kind of how I see it. And if this one is For All the Dogs, maybe he's going back to the old Drake. But hey, girl, don't tempt me. I don't know if we want the old Drake, but we want the Drake that was like, I'm always saying, if you're reading This Is Too Late, that was like the era, nothing was the same. Kind of the Drake we all love, but I get that it's a development and process that we can't interfere with. We can't force him to be a certain way. I'm just open. Maybe he decides to do something new. I think Her Loss was kind of his proving that he can still rap. In a lot of sense, that is like if you're reading This Is Too Late. If you're reading This Is Too Late was like, yo, I gave y'all some soft stuff in the past. Now I want to prove that I can rap. And he did that very successfully on If You're Reading This. And I think that Her Loss was the same. And now maybe we're getting like an album where he decides to be a little bit more singing like again and decides to do the old Drake, as he said. Now, we don't have a release date. He's going on tour in a couple of days. June 29th, the tour with 21 Savage is starting. So I don't think it'll drop before then. But maybe we can expect it in the fall. So that's what I'm saying. Also wanted to add that the recent comment under Young Thug's announcement for Business is Business, where he said, Young Thug, you owe me with this one, and Young Thug said, you will be paid. I already talked about it, and goddamn, a lot of y'all said, yo, you reaching with this is not happening. Guess what? It's happening right now, because I guess Drake pushed the release date for his own album back because Thugger was dropping that day. That's why he said, you owe me with this one. But that's on the side note. But let me know what y'all think about this, though. I think it's very interesting. A lot more stuff that we can go into. I think the whole theory about the titles is pretty interesting. Let me know what y'all think about that and all the other stuff I mentioned in this video in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.